If you're going to spend that much money on an M2 MacBook Air, get the 14-inch MacBook Pro instead. That's something you would hear if you tell someone that you got an M2 MacBook Air. To put it simply, it's difficult to choose between the Apple MacBook Air and Pro because both are amazing computers that are better than ever owing to Apple Silicon. Comparing laptops is difficult but necessary since you need to know exactly what each one is capable of before picking which one is best for you. So, in this video, we will compare M2 MacBook Air with the 14-inch MacBook Pro. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Differences between the M2 MacBook Air and 14-inch MacBook Pro. So, the M2 MacBook Air is available in more colors right away. They're still gloomy and a little monotonous, but if you only want a almost black MacBook, that's the one to get. Both laptop screens have notches. This has no effect on your daily usage or pleasure of the device, so there's no need to be concerned. However, the screen of the MacBook Pro benefits from roughly an inch more diameter. The MacBook Pro has greater storage, up to 8 terabytes if you want it, but the pricing is typical Apple and takes that machine way beyond the price of an M2 MacBook Air, which will cost you around $1,199 to $1,499, the more terabytes you add. To be exact, if you get the 14-inch MacBook Pro with 8 terabytes storage, you will have to pay $4,399. In terms of battery life, the M2 MacBook Air outperforms its bigger brother by 1 hour, 18 versus 17. This could be attributed in part to the latter's superior display, which is higher resolution, brighter, by a significant margin, capable of supporting an XDR process, and promotion-enabled. The MacBook Pro also includes studio quality, microphones and 2 extra speakers. The benefits on offer here over the MacBook Air are questionable. Both laptops feature a 3.5mm headphone connector for high-impedance headphones. The MacBook Pro outperforms the M2 MacBook Air in terms of performance. The increased cores and 100 GB per second of memory bandwidth make the 14-inch MacBook Pro a more faster machine for intense activities like video editing, audio creation, and coding. It has active cooling, too. Oh, and don't forget about ports. While both laptops have seen the happy return of MagSafe, the MacBook Pro now has one more Thunderbolt 4 Pro, an HDMI input, and an SD card slot. In addition, the MacBook Pro can drive 2 external screens, whereas the MacBook Air can only drive one. So there are a lot of commonalities, some minor gains, and 1 or 2 substantial horsepower discrepancies. But, don't we still need to figure out who these laptops are for? So, who is the M2 MacBook Air for? The 14-inch MacBook Pro is probably not even on your radar if all you truly want is an M2 MacBook Air and you have the funds to spec it up as much as you need to in order to meet your needs. That's why it's so unpleasant when someone ruins the party by coming through the door at the last moment and declaring, at that price, mate, you may as well just purchase the 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's like having your teeth ground into a fine powder. However, they are not you in any way. They do not share your desire for a MacBook Air since they do not have the same desire. You've been wanting one for a very long time, and that's reason enough for you to get it. Be steadfast in your convictions. It is your laptop, not theirs. Despite the fact that a 14-inch MacBook Pro has far more capabilities than a MacBook Air with an M2 processor does, purchasing one does not automatically make it the more advantageous option. It is also larger and heavier, and if the user is never going to make use of the power it possesses, purchasing it would be a complete and utter waste of money. Follow your instincts and pay no attention to anyone else if you have decided that you desire an M2 MacBook Air but have absolutely no interest in purchasing a 14-inch MacBook Pro. It can be summed up like this. This does not imply that the M2 MacBook Air is for people who are not willing to try new things. Rather, it is for those who are certain that they want one. So, who is the 14-inch MacBook Pro for? The Apple MacBook Pro 14-inch is ideal for professional use. But, to be honest, in my opinion, the The 14-inch MacBook Pro is not even close to being comparable to M2 MacBook Air because of its increased weight, screen size, and performance. The laptop is the kind of thing that, in order to get the most out of the money you've invested in it, really needs to be put through its paces. But, if you are quite certain that you require a MacBook Pro, then without a doubt you should go ahead and purchase one. In fact, if you belong to this camp, it's quite likely that you're not even thinking about the M2 MacBook Air to begin with. You need to ask yourself one question: if the M2 MacBook Air is your starting point, but the vicinity of your selected spec feels too near to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. How tempted are you to purchase the latter? Is it something that feels like it could be something you could live with, given the use case you have in mind for the laptop? Will it be too cumbersome to carry? Does it strike you as somewhat absurd to have more authority than you actually require? Final thought. The prices of these two laptops approach uncomfortably near to one another depending on the specifications that you select, but value is something that is subjectively experienced by each individual consumer. It's been remarked on numerous occasions that an expensive bottle of Prosecco is superior to a cheap bottle of champagne, and a lot of people are going to feel the same way about the dispute between the M2 MacBook Air and the 14-inch MacBook Pro. The most important thing to take away from this discussion is that you really must have a need for the increased power and versatility that the 14-inch MacBook Pro provides. If you don't need such power, then buying a 14-inch MacBook Pro or a M2 MacBook Air wouldn't make a difference. Simply pick the device that fits your needs best. No one else but you can make that determination. So, what do you prefer, a 14-inch MacBook Pro or a M2 MacBook Air? And why? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. That's all for this video. Please like, subscribe, share and comment on this video if you enjoy it. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Thanks for watching.